Hey guys, I'm S. Wolf. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to like 3 days before this hype train really takes off. I'm trying to keep it partially in check here because I know if we get too hyped up, you guys will come back here and absolutely grill me if this ends up being a bust. But I do not think it will. I think this is the most exciting DLC pack to date. I think with the game-changing mechanics coming, with the swimming and the animal education talks, it is just going to be, it's going to transcend the DLCs that we've seen leading up to this point. And I think a lot of us are kind of like you guys have been following along with the podcast with Drew and I. We are kind of under the assumption that the first couple DLCs we got, you know, the Arctic, the Australia, the South America, we think a lot of those were way pre-planned. Those were on the roadmap. They knew they were going to release those. There's, you know, some chatter that maybe Arctic got switched around a little bit and another one was going to come first. But at the end of the day, we believe that those were studio, really just hardcore roadmap planned. Now, we think we are getting into a time where the community feedback part of DLCs, animals, features, are really going to start coming into play. And that's why I think that starting with this pack is so exciting. Just like I said, nonetheless, moving on to swimming alone with that, with the screenshot we got of the crocodile, this title, as much as I love Planet Zoo, it's not as like exciting, inducing news like Planet Coaster used to have. Like, remember like when the DLCs used to be announced and like we would collectively lose our minds? It hasn't really been like that for me personally with Planet Zoo. It's more been like, oh, that's awesome. I think I could definitely, you know, I could use those temple pieces, or, oh, look at that corrugated roof piece. I think that'll be pretty cool. Then we're kind of pivoting to something else. Like, it's okay, that's cool. This was one of the first packs out of the first few that have come out where like I really absolutely had a jaw-dropping moment when I saw that crocodile. I think I can speak for a lot of you. That was pretty jarring when we saw that crocodile halfway down that lagoon, like looking like he's making his way towards those fish. That was a, you know, push back in your chair type moment because it just deviates so much from what we've kind of, you know, come to expect from these DLC packs. And like I said, I think, and, you know, Simply Savannah has said it, truly game-changing type mechanics are on the way, and that is what has got me so excited. I know there's a little bit of concern about the piece count only being 170 scenery pieces, but I think, kind of like Drew hit up on Twitter just a few days ago, those rocks that are in that screenshot behind the otters, behind the giant otters, absolutely we're thinking they're going to be flexi color. Like, that rock is not just going to be that kind of weird shade of green and then not be able to change that. So like I said, don't get too hyped on that, but I believe flexi color rocks are absolutely going to have to make their way into the game because that green is just, that's just too weird to just have that as a standard option. Here you go, use this green rock maybe once. So that is that's some things we're taking into consideration when we talk about the 170 scenery piece count being a little lower than normal. Remember, normally we're around the 210 to 220 range, I believe. But 170 leads me to believe that maybe the pieces we're going to be getting are a little more versatile than what we've had with previous packs. But yes, if you've been living under one of these penguin rocks for the last 4 or 5 days, we are getting the Diamondback Terrapin. So that's the little turtle that we've seen on the, I think on the screenshot they released on Wednesday or Thursday, I believe. We're getting the charming Giant Otter. We're getting the beautiful Cuvier's Dwarf Caiman. We're getting the brilliant gray seal, which as of the recording of this video, we've actually not seen a close-up screenshot, so I'm hoping that comes today. Remember, I'm recording this on Saturday, and it's about 8 o'clock in the morning. We have been getting screenshots around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so hopefully by the time you're watching this video, we can actually revert back and see what they're going to reveal with the gray seal. And yesterday, they revealed the adventurous king penguin. So really, really exciting stuff. And you know, I'm not sure how deep the water is going to be as far as the Diamondback Terrapin goes, because remember, that is going to be an exhibit animal. So it's not, as much as we'd all love it, it's not going to be this free roaming type turtle that you can put in a habitat exhibit. We are talking the glass boxes, but just with the way that screenshot was kind of framed makes me believe that I might be able to maybe do some clever rock work and maybe kind of do some aquarium, maybe some aquarium type design with it. I'm not sure yet. We'll just kind of have to get in and kind of see what we can make happen. Now, as far as what I'm most excited for, I would hands down probably have to say designing for the Giant Otter. I think that's going to be my first and foremost task. That is what I'm really looking forward to the most. And obviously too, the gray seals are going to be cool, but the only thing that we can really see from them so far is, remember the screenshot they put out of like the harbor kind of lighthouse? There are some really cool looking statues that it looks like we're going to get with those. And I guess what I'm most excited for the seals are the swimming mechanics as well. Like, how fast are we talking? Same with the penguins. You know, we saw in the trailer that they look like they're cruising along pretty stinking quick, and that's going to be awesome to see if the otters and the seals actually move along that quick too. And then of course to jump in and see the saltwater crocodiles and see kind of how that movement goes when they're actually deep diving. And I think, remember I said it on a live stream a couple nights ago, with that mechanic happening, it changes the game for our Suyanna layout. Remember, the crocodiles are in this little lagoon right now, because, you know, there really was no deep diving mechanic. But I think that is going to be an interesting live stream when we go in and we're actually, like, I think we should go in and design us an entirely new crocodile habitat. We'll maybe bring in the Dwarf Caimans and put them in that smaller lagoon, which to them would be pretty large. But I think we need a more proper, larger underwater section and larger lagoon for the saltwater crocodiles. So I think that's another thing that's gotten me really excited, really pumped for the aquatic pack, is how it's going to change the whole look and feel and of what we're going to have to design in Suyanna. And you guys know, like, that's our flagship zoo right now. So that really has me pumped. The kind of like the penguin rock work that we see in some of the screenshots, like their little kind of like their little habitat with like it looks like they have little caves and stuff they can go back into. That has me excited. Anytime looks like we're getting any kind of new kind of rock work, even if it's like fake rock work like you see in zoos and such, that has got me excited, because I mean, you guys know we can totally transcend that out of just penguins. We can do, I mean, there's just gonna be endless type of stuff we can do. And I just think that with the penguins and the swimming mechanics and with the new little fish cannon, that is good. Now, of course, too, we're still waiting to see if those fish are alive or dead. I'm really hoping they're alive. I think Jonty and Beyond Drew are hoping they're alive, just so they can kind of hide them and maybe shoot them up. And if they swim for a certain amount of time, there's kind of a lot of going back and forth with that, though. A lot of people think they're dead. A lot of people think they're alive. So I don't know. It's just kind of, we'll have to wait till Tuesday to kind of see what's going on with that. But that's another part. Speaking of Jonty, Mass Bandit, Ruble Trillions, a lot of those guys that we haven't, you know, I guess what I'll say is it's sometimes it's tough to get those guys hyped up. And when they are sending Beyond Drew and me messages on Discord, and when they're showing up to live streams again, I think we have something interesting on our hands here. Like I said, you know, guys that have kind of not necessarily moved on, but zoos are not really their thing. When they perk back up and they're like, okay, what's going on here? That's when you know, like, okay, when those guys are doing that, I think casual players are going to lose their minds when this drops. So that's got me excited too. Just some of my old buddies kind of thinking about coming back in and recording that have been out of it so long and have just not really had any ideas to mess with the game in a while. Moving on to my next point. Yes, I'm a nerd, and I've got some notes here written down. Next point, Linda and a lot of people have been hitting me up on animal count and why are the packs, why do we continually just get 4 to 5 to 6 animals a pack? And I told Linda and a couple of them I was going to reach out to Shantae and just see if I could get like just a little more, what's the right word? Like a substantive, a sustainable like answer to why we only get the 5 animals per pack. And actually coming right from, I'll just go ahead and read you what Shantae said, just so I'm not like mincing words. And I'll tell you what I said. I said, hey Shantae, need a bucket to menu because you always word this stuff really well and we're wanting your input. For my goofballs that keep mentioning wanting larger DLCs, particularly more animals, do you have an answer I can pass along about the animal count decision making? Honestly, I'm more of a theme guy, so animals are a cool byproduct, but I am asked quite often during these DLC cycles, why don't we get more animals? Any help or insight you could lend me to help boost my community communication would be greatly appreciated. And so Shantae, like really quick, like a day or two later, said, hey Stan, thanks for the email, hope you're doing well. I don't have anything particular to share on the decision-making process behind the amount of animals in a pack. A lot of research goes into each animal, from how they move to how they eat and more. The development behind these aquatic animals spanned over months to ensure the animals all move correctly both on land and underwater. However, we do factor in community requests during development on packs and the free updates. We're super excited about the pack. We were able to factor in so much feedback with the aquatic pack, getting in some community favorites in there. Take care, Shantae. So, like I said, I think that is more of a, and I mentioned this on Twitter too, I think that was a roundabout way of saying quality over quantity. I think that, it's better, I think it's better on us in the long run that we get quality animations, mechanics, feeding behavior, walking patterns, swimming patterns, than the large just dump of animals that might not totally be ready yet or really buggy or, But there was another thing that come up after I actually tweeted that. And that was, I want to make sure I give the proper shout out because that was a really interesting take on the whole animal thing, the animal count that I had not thought about before. Let me go into my tweets and replies and I will tell you exactly kind of how that conversation went down in my mentions. It was from my buddy Asano78. This is what Asano replied to right after I did that tweet. And she said, looking back at Zoo Tycoon 2, they released a DLC with 20 animals, which sounds almost the same as PZ. Hear me out here. So the choice was a DLC per year with 20 animals, or a DLC per 3 months with 5 animals. The community is so hungry that they couldn't be able to wait that long. So I'd say it's fine this way. And I was like, absolutely, that's probably what's happened. Instead of making us wait, could you imagine if we got the original animal count and then we had to, like, we just got 20 animals like exactly a month ago, and that was going to have to hold us over until possibly November of 2021. So looking at it like that, without Shantae even saying it, I bet you that was really probably a determining factor in only getting 5 to 6 animals per pack. It's just the wait time, and like, you know, a couple people have said in the podcast too, we look at it as like, well, maybe, you know, the animals took longer to make, so that's why we only got 20 a year. Well, that may be true, but I still think as far as the development and stuff goes, this stuff still takes months and months. So I'm sure, like, okay, the aquatic pack is about to come out in 3 days. I'm sure they are already balls deep in what is going to come out in April or March, you know. So what, we're looking at December, so January, February, yeah, March, probably end of March, beginning of April. We know that they've not kept exactly to the 3-month mark. Remember, the Australia pack wasn't it more like 120 days? It was almost like 3.5 months before all that stuff come out. But point is, I'm sure they are toiling away right now on things that are going to be released in March, and testing, and, you know, doing all the QA stuff, and who knows, maybe birds, you know, because a lot of us had talked about how this is going to have to be a pretty substantial next pack as far as them blowing us away with the hype with this one, you know, what's going to come next. But I just think that Asano had a good way of putting that. If you break it down from, would we want to wait would we want to wait a year for 20 animals, or 3 months for 5 new animals and new mechanics? You know, we got to remember that the swimming has been added into this update that they put a lot of work on. So there's a lot of kind of like a toss-up with that analogy. But I know, me personally, it would absolutely suck if DLCs or even larger, you know, expansions, if we had to wait a year for them nowadays. So I'm on board with the 5 animals every 3 months type deal, when I kind of look at it like that, how it could be and how it was back in the day. So, you know, I'll leave you with that thought. As always, leave me down below. Let's keep this conversation rolling with what you're excited for about what's coming with the aquatic pack, if it's going to bring you back to Planet Zoo, if you haven't played it in a while. And yeah, just kind of let me know what you guys think. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next video. Don't forget, we are jumping on with Paulsley tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern time. We're doing another Take 2 podcast. And yeah, hope to see you guys there. See ya.